Hey everyone, and happy almost New Year / New Year, depending on when you're listening to this. We are going into 2026 full of gratitude for all of you for listening along and reading along and generally just being along for the ride. We are especially grateful for our patrons, and today we want to thank our newest patron, Lauren. Welcome to the team. And now, please enjoy this week's episode of Pod and Prejudice, covering chapters 13 and 14 of Mansfield Park.
Wait. Okay, sorry. There's a little more ado before we get to the doing of the podcast. Hi, everybody. It's me, audio producer Graham, here at my desk. I just wanted to jump in really quick to tell everybody that I have an announcement. I'm going to be performing in New York with some very dear friends of mine. We're going to be performing at Fizz Fest, which is a physical theater festival. And we're going to be performing a new work of theater that we created while we were in school together. It's called The Marble in My Mouth. It's all about grief and what happens when we don't allow ourselves to feel it. It is a beautiful, silly, heart-wrenching, gorgeous piece of work that I hope that you can all come out and see. It's going to be at the Stella Adler Theater, January 9th and 10th at 7 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. We're going to post the ticket link in this episode's description. Thank you so much. And without any further ado, here's this week's episode of Pod and Prejudice.
One of the most romantic things that's happened to me in recent years is that I was sitting on the couch today and I'd eaten a bowl of spicy ramen noodles for lunch because it's fucking snowing out. And I burped really loud and Mike went, "Oh, that's hot." And I was like, "Oh, give me a break. Would you prefer I hold it in?" He looked at me and he went, "No, you're at your sexiest when you're healthy."
Oh, why is that adorable?
It's the cutest thing anybody's ever said.
You're at your sexiest when you're healthy. I love that.
Yeah.
Cute.
Ugh.
Anyway.
Yeah, now back to Jane Austen's very romantic novel.
Yeah, this novel is so romantic.
Yeah. This is the first time I've really wished that we had a video podcast because the look you gave me when you said that is like, Becca, you started this podcast with me 6 years ago and suddenly I'm in this fucking book and no one's kissing.
Nobody has kissed yet, and it's been... Well, actually, that's a lie. They definitely were kissing in the woods. So, I guess whatever. But it's not in a romantic way.
It's in a spicy, naughty way.
It's improper.
Imprudent.
It's imprudent.
This is Becca.
This is Molly.
We're here to talk about Jane Austen.
We are here specifically to talk about
Mansfield Park. Listeners, if you're new here, I, Becca, have read many Jane Austen novels through my lifetime.
And I, Molly, am reading all of her novels for the first time through this podcast.
If you want to hear Molly read through Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility, Emma, or Persuasion for the first time, you can listen to seasons 1, 2, 3, and 4 of this podcast respectively, but that is not what we're doing here today.
No, today we are talking about Mansfield Park, Volume 1, chapters 13 and 14.
And boy, the theater kids are here.
The theater! I was actually so excited about this.
Oh boy, yeah. I mean, I'm glad because this is a very iconic part of Mansfield Park, and I would say what we would call a lightning rod because some people are like, why is Jane Austen writing about them doing a fucking play?
On the one hand, yes, but actually, I want to give us a pat on the back for already having covered Austenland at this point because I now have a visual and also kind of like a more modern lens through which to view this with, because this is, I think, the storyline that they based that part of Austenland on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So before we get into these chapters and lovers' vows, I will give a quick recap of what happened last time, which was very little. Basically, Mary is still kind of nudging Edmund about being a clergyman. Big T has returned to Mansfield Park. And Fanny is, hot for nature, hot for landscaping, but mostly nature. And we go to Fanny's first ball and everyone's dancing with each other. And it is just clear at this point that Henry Crawford and Maria Bertram, who is very much, and I cannot let anyone forget this, engaged, are flirting with each other. Is that a good summary of where we're at?
I would say yes.
Okay, so let's get into these chapters of Mansfield Park.
Yes. So there was a friend who was in town that was at the ball, and we were like, "Whomst is that friend?"
Mm-hmm.
It is the Honorable
Mm-hmm.
John Yates, who
Mm-hmm.
is the younger son of a lord with not much else going on to commend him.
Yes.
Is he high ranking with that honorable?
I don't think so. No, he's
Is
just.
that more of a sarcastic honorable?
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah. Lord Yates is not passing his title on to John, his son, who is not a second son necessarily, but certainly not a first son.
Mm-hmm.
And he does not have a lot of stuff going on in his life. So he and Big T are just partying it up
Mm-hmm.
in Weymouth together.
Yes. He befriended Tom in Weymouth, and he was invited to come to Mansfield anytime he liked. And he ended up coming a little sooner than was expected because he was in the area at a friend's house to perform a play. But the party broke up early when a relation of the family died.
How dare they?
Literally, how dare they is all this chapter is about. He's like, "Ugh, I can't believe she died at that exact time."
Yeah, and I just feel like it's really important that something we learn about Big T and his buddies in these chapters is that they are theater people.
Yes, and it's so funny because I was picturing him being like going to fights and doing like betting money on cards and stuff. And now I'm like, was he just a theater bro?
¿Por qué no los dos?
¿Por qué no los dos? Yeah.
I think it is true to say that Big T is doing every form of debauchery, but I think he's just constantly in the market for what we'd call a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And as we know, theater is such a good time.
Theater's a great time, but also I think it's important to think about the fact that like at this time, there was probably two kinds of theater. If I'm reaching back to my theater
Mhm.
training, and I want to acknowledge that I may fuck this up a little, but
I fuck everything up when we're talking about the history and context.
but like there is theater for royals, which is respectable, and there's the queen in a box or
Mhm.
whatever, and that's like appropriate to go see. And then there's like traveling troops, or in this case home theater, which is less proper and seems to be a cause for like alarm. So I think that this is like the theater that Tom is going to is not necessarily like the theater.
Yes, and well, it's more participating in the theater is like kind of a bunch of different ways. And I will say, like, I did like brush up on my slightly on my Jane Austen and the theater history here
Great.
because I wanted to make sure I was getting things right. And my understanding is that it was seen as like gauche and potentially spicy for a woman to be doing this, but it was like a fun and trendy thing people were kind of doing. And Jane Austen did do theater with her family quite a bit in her home.
I guess it also depends on what the play is, and I think that that comes into play here a lot.
It is certainly a very large portion of this, and I also think it depends on the household, and I think we are led to believe that this is a more conservative household.
Yes.
If Edmund has something to say about it.
Yes.
Oh my God, Molly just rolled her eyes
Yeah.
so hard. But yeah, I think we can say, yes, theater is a little bit of a scandal activity, but it's not like a pearl clutching, life ruining activity. And it is something that Jane Austen enjoyed in her own life. So it is interesting that it's playing this specific role here. But I certainly think we need to talk about the play at issue before we get too far into the propriety.
Yeah. So I was not able to Google this because when I Googled it, the first thing that came up is it's known for the role it plays in Mansfield Park.
Mhm.
So I would love to hear what Lover's Vows is about.
I will give that to you in bits and pieces without claiming to be an expert on it. But first, let's get to where they talk about doing it in the book before I go into what the play is.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, in any event, all John Yates can talk about is how upset he is he didn't get to perform, and he's got his head full of the theater. But luckily, all of these young people are interested in the theater and they want to hear him talk about it. So, he had a small part in Lover's Vows, but the main parts had been taken by Lord Ravenshaw and the Duke by the time he got to Ecclesford, which is where he was. Lord Ravenshaw had apparently offered to give him the part, and John was like, no, I simply couldn't. But he did feel bad for Lord Ravenshaw that he thought he was up for the part. He was like, he wasn't going to be very good, but.
Are you also like super triggered by like theater school here?
Yeah, no, I'm like, he's talking about the casting and like, I'm like, who was talking about me behind my back when I got the role they wanted?
Oh, I mean, I'm just more like, oh man, theater kids are so petty.
They're
and
so petty.
so obsessed with themselves. Love theater. I am a theater kid.
Yeah.
Love theater kids. I know there's a lot of former theater kids and current theater kids listening to this podcast, but we all know who I'm talking about here.
Yeah, and it's also it's usually this guy.
I would say this. I think every profession has its jerks.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen any type of profession that doesn't attract a particular type of jerk. The theater jerk is a very specific jerk, and that jerk is John Yates.
Yes. So he goes through each actor and he's talking about all of their skills, and he thinks it would have been a really good play if it had gone on. And everyone feels very sorry for him that the grandmother died. And he couldn't do the play. And he says, yeah, she really died at a most inconvenient time for me. And and again, it's not even his grandmother. He wishes the news could have waited a couple of days. It's like, it was so far away. Why couldn't it have waited 3 days to reach us?
Oh my God.
Tom says that he bets Lord Ravenshaw was relieved to not have to try to act the Baron, which is such a dickish thing to say.
Yeah.
Like, his grandmother died. Tom!
This is like, to me, one of the funniest pieces of this book is like Yates and Big T going back and forth and talking about theater together.
Yeah, when I was working on my funniest quotes, like half of them are from this exchange. Tom suggests that they make some theater at Mansfield, and Yates can be their manager. And everyone is obsessed with this idea, particularly Henry Crawford, who has like an entire paragraph about how good he is at acting. He's like, I feel like I could act the telephone book right now. I could do any part that was put in front of me. I'll play Shylock. I'll play this part. I'll play that part. And he says, since we're just entertaining ourselves, any room can serve as the theater. Tom goes, well, we just need a curtain, maybe a few yards of green baize, which is, of course, typically green woolen material resembling felt, used especially for covering pool, snooker, and billiard tables. He says that'll do, and then Yates says, oh, quite enough. With only just a side wing or two run up, doors in flat, and 3 or 4 scenes to be let down, nothing more would be necessary for such a plan as this. And when he says scenes to be let down, he's talking about backdrops, I believe.
Yes.
So he's like, yeah, no, we just need a couple of
just a couple sets.
Yeah,
no worries.
a few scene changes, like wings. We need wings for
and
actors.
We'll get the chandelier to fall. It'll be perfect. Like just really light touch here.
Yeah.
You've been watching Only Murders, right?
I am not caught up.
Okay, this isn't a spoiler. Okay. I am picturing him being a young Oliver Putnam.
Exactly. He's like, yeah, it'll only cost $4 million.
It's fine. There's like a scarf hanging off of him and he's like gesturing very broadly at the stage.
Yeah. I hate this guy, but I love this guy.
I am living.
Yeah, he's hilarious. Mariah says, why don't we focus on the performance rather than the theater?
Every low budget production ever.
Yeah. Edmund, I believe sarcastically, goes in, okay, thank you, Becca nodded, goes in and is like, oh, well, if we're gonna do it, we have to do it all out. Like, we must have a full set with a pit and an orchestra, and if we don't outdo Ecclesford, what is even the point? Edmund.
Yeah, we'll talk about a stick up the butt.
Yeah. Julia is like, come on, Edmund, you love the theater. You've traveled the farthest out of all of us to go see the theater. And he says, yeah, I've gone to see real theater.
So he's gone to theater.
He's gone to theater. He doesn't want to do theater.
Yeah, no, he's like, I've seen Broadway. I'm not doing community theater.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody cares what he thinks, though. And
that is like the story of these chapters. Nobody cares what Edmund thinks.
Except for Fanny, as always.
Yeah.
They go on with their plans and they decide Tom wants a comedy, Henry and the girls want a tragedy, but either way, a play is happening, and that will come back later to bite them in the butt. Edmund is very uncomfortable with this, but his mom is fine with it. So that night, Tom comes into the drawing room from the billiard room where he had been hanging out with the pro theater people, and he announces that the billiards table is shit, but if they move it to the side, it would be the awesome theater room. Like, they can turn that room into the theater. And Edmund is like, are you serious about acting? Like, are you really going to do this? And Tom is like, why are you surprised? We've been talking about it all day. And Edmund's like, well, in general, private theatricals are looked down on. But in our particular case, our father is away, so it would be disrespectful to him. And Mariah shouldn't be participating in something like this in her condition, meaning engaged.
Because in case you forgot,
She's engaged.
she's like very engaged.
Yeah. Now, I understand the Mariah bit. Like, she shouldn't be play acting love with another man, for example.
Yes.
But why does it matter that their father's away?
2 reasons. 1, they would need his permission to do something like this, and they're not going to get it.
Okay.
Because he's away.
Right.
And 2, he's away and in grave peril.
Right.
And
They should be worried.
Yeah. So basically, it's kind of like my husband's dad's a firefighter. This isn't a perfect like analogy, but if he's off fighting a really serious fire and in grave danger or whatever, then it'd be like weird if he and his brothers were running around town doing like debaucherous shit and like not caring that their dad was in danger, you know? So like it's seen as like, oh, you're not being appropriately like somber while we're waiting for your dad to come home, which is why Big T is like, psh, psh, we're supposed to have no fun while dad's gone.
Right. Right. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Tom says, listen, we're not doing an 8-week run. Like, we're not putting on 3 shows a week until dad comes home. We're just entertaining ourselves. It's not a big deal. There's not going to be an audience. No one will see. And with regard to their father being absent, he's like, this is actually more of a motive than a deterrent because our mother is so anxious about father's return. And this would lighten the mood. And they turn to look at Lady Bertram, who is snoozing in the corner, looking very peaceful.
She's definitely got Mr. Wobbles, Pug Wobbles, Esquire on her lap.
Esquire! Tom maintains that they would be doing no harm by doing this theater, and Edmund thinks that their father would disapprove. Tom thinks not, because when they were kids, they used to perform plays all the time on holiday. And Edmund's like, yeah, we were boys and our dad wanted us to be well-spoken, but he would never approve of his daughters doing something like this.
Particularly when one of them is what?
Engaged. Tom then snarks, maintain your own concerns, Edmund, and I'll take care of the rest of the family.
Spicy.
Very spicy because he is the one who's going to be in charge of the rest of the family.
Yeah, and you can really see here who's actually like got the gumption to run an estate and like understand what he's supposed to be doing. And obviously it's Big T.
Yeah. But I also am kind of like, do I like Tom more than I like Edmund?
It's hard to like Edmund in these chapters because even if he is right, he is so uptight. It's annoying.
He's annoying. Like, I get, like, there are rules, but when you think about why the rules are in place, it's kind of...
I mean, again, I focus on the fact that Jane Austen, like, herself would perform in plays. Like, at this point in time, we'll talk about the later point in time, but this point in time, it's kind of like...
Like, we know where she's coming from.
Yeah.
And we know who she's siding with.
Well, I think she's just kind of like making it clear that this guy is like regimented and like very old school.
Yeah.
And is not willing to transgress past even an inch.
Yeah. Edmund says you at least shouldn't attempt to make a theater. Like, don't do construction on the house.
They just perform your scenes.
Yes. And Tom says he has a greater interest in the house being maintained than Edmund does, or as great an interest.
If not more.
If not more. Because he is literally the one inheriting it.
Yes.
And he says, I've only suggested moving a bookcase or opening a door. I'm not knocking down walls. If you think father would disapprove of that, you're basically saying he would disapprove of like moving the piano from one side of the room to the other. And Edmund is like, but it's going to cost money. And Tom is like, 20 pounds, maybe, to hang a curtain and pay a carpenter. Is the carpenter to build a stage? Is that what's going on? Like, why do they need a carpenter?
Either that or to hang the curtain.
I guess the carpenter needs to hang the curtain. And then he says that the carpenter, or all of the carpentry, can be done by Christopher Jackson. Is this a person we're supposed to know?
No.
It's just a guy?
Yeah, it's just a guy.
His dad likes?
Yeah,
okay.
Just a carpenter.
Yeah, because he says that if the work is taken by Christopher Jackson, their dad would approve. So I guess it's just their carpenter. Tom says, listen, if you don't like it, don't act. And Edmund's like, okay, I won't. And then Tom storms out.
But don't worry, Fanny's there.
Fanny's still there. She's been here the whole time.
Yep.
And Edmund like plops down and is all in a huff. And Fanny goes, maybe they won't find a play that satisfies everyone. And Edmund's like, no, they will. I need to try to dissuade my sisters. And Fanny's like, I'm sure Mrs. Norris will agree with you. And Edmund's like, she doesn't have influence with the others. I don't want to start a whole fight. I just need to stop this in its tracks. He mentions he doesn't want to be by the ears, which in this era means causing people to fight or argue.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to talk to his sisters that night, or maybe the next day, and they don't think there's anything wrong with their plan. Julia admits that Mariah's situation might be dicey, but she sees no reason why she shouldn't participate. And Mariah thinks that her engagement actually raises her above restraint, so she shouldn't have to ask permission for this sort of thing.
She's Miss Independent.
Yeah.
Circa Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah, she's like, I'm an engaged woman. I'm almost a wife.
So basically, my father can't tell me what to do anymore.
Yeah. Henry then comes in and says, Mary Crawford wants to be in the play too. And Mariah looks at Edmund, and Edmund is then, quote, obliged to acknowledge that the charm of acting might well carry fascination to the mind of genius.
Thoughts?
I was like, you just spent 6 pages talking about how this must not happen.
Yes.
And as soon as the girl you like wants to be a part of it, you're going to just say,
fold?
oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah, you're going to fold. You're going to be like, oh, that's okay. Like, maybe, like, some people, it's okay. And shut up. Yeah, no, I was really irritated at that.
Yeah, the minute Mary Crawford's like, oh, that could be fun. And he's like, yeah, it could be fun. It could be fun.
Also, like, I wonder what he would have done if she had been in the room this whole time.
Really good question. Or what she would have said to him.
Yeah. They are not suited to each other. I will say that much. That's all. That's like what I'm getting from this.
Yeah.
They are not a good match. Mrs. Norris also is very easily talked down from her, like, her
high horse about it.
Her high horse, yeah. And she is thrilled by the fact that she decides she needs to move into Mansfield for the time
Could
being.
not possibly put on an amateur scene study without Mrs. Norris living at Mansfield Park to make sure it happens.
Yeah. And that's the end of that chapter.
It is indeed.
Which brings us to chapter 14. So Fanny was right. They can't find a play that will satisfy all of them. The carpenter has gotten to work before they find a play. Mrs. Norris has gotten them green baize before they find a play, and the maids have hung the green baize before they find a play. They need a tragedy that's also a comedy that has enough roles for everyone. It needs to have not too many characters, but every character must be a star, and it needs to have at least 3 leading women. Fanny feels conflicted because everything of higher consequence, quote unquote, is against the play, but she has never seen a play, and so she would like to.
Yep.
Which is sweet because I want her to get some more culture.
Exactly. Like, she does deserve to observe a play.
Yeah. Maybe not this one. This one might not be to her tastes, which we'll find out later.
Yep.
But so far, they haven't found a play. Tom is fed up with their arguing, and he says, listen, nothing is going to suit all of us. Let's just pick a comedy, and it can be anything. I'll do any part. Doesn't have to be a lead. He suggests The Heir at Law, saying that there are both comic and tragic roles. And when nobody responds to this, he suggests Lover's Vows, the very same play.
Ooh.
Yeah, because Yeats was supposed to do it at Ecclesford. He can finally play the Baron like he wanted to. And it has tragic roles, comedic roles. The comedic role is a small part, but Tom will take it because he's so flexible.
He's giving aspiring stand-up comic right now.
Yes, he is. He's like, as long as it's funny, like, I can take a small role and make it big. Yeats has been practicing the Baron in his room since the play at Ecclesford, which I thought was really funny. But he does mention that he would also be willing to take Frederick. And Henry says he'll take whichever one Yeats doesn't want. And so Mariah says because Yeats is the tallest, he should play the Baron. Mariah and Julia both want to be Agatha.
Yes.
Who is the lead tragic role.
Yes.
And Julia says that Agatha and Amelia would be good for her and Mariah, but there isn't a role for Miss Crawford.
Is this a good time to stop and give you like a few details about the play?
That would be great,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah, because I just like am naming names.
Yeah. So The Lover's Vows, I believe, is an adaptation of a German play. And I'm not going to go like too deeply into the details of it, but it is a spicy play for the time period because it is about a woman who bears an illegitimate child. And on the side of that, there is a set of lovers who sort of find their way to each other. And it is I don't want to give away too much about it, but there is essentially the role of a sweet little ingenue.
Is that Amelia?
Yes. And it's sort of about her slightly forbidden love story with a lowly preacher.
Which is the Baron?
No.
Which is Frederick.
No.
No.
So Frederick is Agatha's son.
Oh.
So,
but Amelia goes to visit Frederick in prison.
At some point, yes.
At some point. But she's not having a love affair with him.
No, her love affair with a different character.
Got it.
But the reason that this plays spicy a little bit is because it's a lot of uppity women. And it portrays a woman bearing a child out of wedlock. And the flirtation of Amelia and her lover is quite outright.
I see.
So right now...
That's why Julia needs to play Amelia and not Mariah.
No, so this is the fun part. They're fighting over Agatha.
They're fighting over Agatha, but
playing
it would be
Henry Crawford's mom.
But it would be really bad for Mariah to play Amelia. But they never consider Mariah playing Amelia.
Not really, no.
No.
And Amelia's the ingenue, like flirty love girl.
Right. And they both want to be Agatha.
In part because there's many scenes, as I understand it, between Frederick and Agatha.
That makes sense.
Characters.
That makes sense. Yes. Funny that they want to play his mom, but mostly because they want to spend time with him.
Yeah, it would be about spending time with him, maybe touching him. And as we learned many, many books ago, Jane Austen, touching is a big deal.
Yes.
And you have to touch on a theater stage,
yes.
especially in a show like this. So, like, in terms of propriety, this is like the modern day equivalent of doing a little amateur in the house production of like Spring Awakening or Hair. Like,
I see.
It's like, it's a popular show, but it's transgressive. And it's a weird choice for like home theater.
Yeah. Okay.
And a particularly spicy one.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you. So Henry, this is right after they say there's not really a role for Miss Crawford. Henry says it's fine. She really only wants to act if she'll be useful. But Tom is like, no way. She definitely should be Amelia. And one of my sisters can play Agatha. Mariah and Julia are both like not really volunteering because they want the group to press the role on them. Like they want it to be like, oh, you should definitely play that part. And Henry turns to Julia and asks her to please not take the part because she would make him laugh. He wouldn't be able to take her seriously in a solemn role because of all the laughs they've had together. And he means this to come out in a nice way.
Does he?
Well, it's hard to take it in a nice way, but I feel like you can be like, oh my God, I love you so much. I can't pretend to hate you on stage or something like that.
Yeah, basically that's what he's saying.
Yeah. And she sees him glance at Mariah in this moment and she sees Mariah smiling and she understands in this moment at long last that she is not the preferred and that he doesn't want her to play the role because he wants to play it across from her sister.
Which is completely batshit.
Yes. And to say it in front of a room.
Girl. Henry
is girl in this case, yeah.
Well, he's the nutty boy.
He's the nutty boy, but
nutty
I
boy.
was saying girl at him.
I mean,
girl.
Mariah, girl.
Girl, both girl. Girl all around.
Yeah.
Tom then backs up Henry and says, well, Julia thinks she prefers tragedy. He wouldn't trust her in a tragic role. She should play the cottager's wife instead. And Yates is like, dude, what the fuck? That is the most, quote, trivial, paltry, insignificant part. The merest commonplace, not a tolerable speech in the whole. At Ecclesford, they literally had the governess do it because they couldn't see themselves, assigning it to anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
so rude. I would be crying if I was Julia at this point. Like, I would be so embarrassed. And he says, Tom doesn't deserve the title of manager if he can't see his sister is better than that. I thought Yates was the manager, but I guess when he became the Baron, Tom took on the role of manager.
I guess because it's his house as well.
Sure. But he had originally been like, oh, to make it up to you that you didn't get to do this play at Ecclesford, you can be the manager of our play. And then I was trying to go back and find where they switched parts, but I couldn't.
Yeah,
It's not important,
yeah.
but someone will tell me, I'm sure. He says that he hasn't seen anyone act yet, so he has to use guesswork. He doesn't know if his sister's a good actor. And besides, they can't have two Agathas and they need a cottager's wife, which is fair. But he says, if she really doesn't want a funny role, she can take the cottager's speeches as the cottager's wife, and Tom will play the cottager but take the wife's speeches. So basically, he'll play the wife and she'll play the cottager. Henry says, no. She should play Amelia. It's the hardest part in the piece. He really talks it up, which kind of makes her feel a little better and softens her up. And then Tom is like, no. Miss Crawford has to play Amelia. Julia is too tall and robust. She's not dainty enough to play Amelia. Does Tom still think that he and Mary Crawford are a thing? Like, does he not know yet?
No.
Okay, just checking.
No, I just love that Tom is like 10 degrees from reality here. He's just like not paying attention to the dynamics going on between his sisters and Henry Crawford. He has no concept of like what Mary Crawford would pay. He literally is just thinking about this like, no, in a play, like obviously Julia's too tall and buxom to be like the cute little ingenue. That has to go to Mary Crawford. Like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Like, he's just being obtuse, which is fantastic.
It is. It's very funny. Henry doesn't listen to this, and because now nobody hears what Tom thinks. And he begs Julia to take the role, saying she may prefer tragedy, but comedy chooses her. And he says, you'll visit me in prison with a basket of provisions. Don't you want to visit me in prison with a basket of provisions? And she wonders if he's just trying to smooth over the previous affront. So she checks Mariah's face, thinking like, oh, if she looks nervous, then she'll think this is real. But she looks perfectly happy. And so she knows that she's happy at Julia's expense and that she is definitely the one preferred. So she claps back. And Julia says, you do not seem afraid of not keeping your countenance when I come in with a basket of provisions, though one might have supposed, but it is only as Agatha that I was to be so overpowering. And Henry has nothing to say to that because he can't.
Nope.
Can't defend himself. And then Tom once again reasserts that Mary should play Amelia, which is like literally not even what they're talking about anymore.
Nope, not at all.
But Julia's on a roll and she says, don't worry, I don't want the part. Amelia is an odious little pert, unnatural, impudent girl. Comedy in its worst form. And then she storms out.
Very theater kid.
Very theater kid. She's like, you don't want to give me the good part. I don't want any part.
Yep.
And she leaves, which I was proud of her. Fanny feels compassion for her because she is the only one who knows what this is really about, except for obviously Mariah and Henry probably have an inkling. But do they care? No.
They sure don't.
Mariah is muttering to Henry that she would have given up her role to Julia, except that, quote, while I shall probably do very ill, she would do it worse. After a bit, Tom and John Yates go to the theater room, and Mariah goes to offer Amelia to Miss Crawford, leaving Fanny alone. It is at this point that Fanny picks up the play to read it because she's very curious what they're all talking about, and she is just shocked at how improper it is. It says, quote, she could hardly suppose her cousins could be aware of what they were engaging in, and she's very much looking forward to Edmund setting them straight, which will not happen because nobody cares what Edmund thinks.
And that brings us to the end of chapter 14.
It sure does.
And the patron study questions. Listeners, if you would like to submit study questions for us to read on the air and answer, you can join our Patreon at the $15 tier, become a patron, and submit your questions through the Google Doc that Molly posts before it records. We will read them. We will answer them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Judith and Diana have both asked questions about lovers' vows and modern day equivalency. Basically that, and they're correct on this, through a modern lens, it's hard for us to understand how scandalizing this play is and why most people are okay with it, but Fanny and Edmund think it's crazy that people would act in this, and they ask what we think a modern day equivalent would be. I think I kind of answered this question, but I'm curious to hear your takes, having now gotten like a slight bit of context from me about what this is.
Yeah, you said it would be like Spring Awakening or Hair in
Yeah.
your living room. Yeah, Spring Awakening makes a lot of sense to me, not necessarily even the musical. This isn't a modern day equivalent,
But
but
Spring's Awakening,
the actual play
the
that it's based
German
on.
play,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like the German play Spring's Awakening, from whatever year that's from, a long, long time ago. But it was very scandalizing when it came out, and so I can see how Spring Awakening would be a good modern day equivalent.
Mhm.
I'm also thinking like Rent, like something that has to do with like sex and drugs
Mhm.
and disease, something that's not necessarily like, it's not commercial, but it might not be like the thing that everybody who wants to go see Wicked on Broadway is going to see.
Yeah, I mean, it made a splash
Yeah.
when it premiered, I think. It was well received,
Mhm.
but scandalous a little.
Yeah. I guess like right now, like Prince Faggot is happening, and
I don't know what you're talking about.
it's a play.
Okay.
About, I had to ask someone. You're not allowed to have your phone in it because I think probably nudity, similar to
Mhm.
like Liberation, and I'm talking about things that are on Broadway right now or off Broadway in the case of Prince Faggot. But it is about the Prince of England growing up as a young gay man,
Love.
and that's all I know about it. But like, people are loving it, and
Escandal.
it's scandalous to have a play about it. So I
Yeah.
think that's kind of what we're getting at
Yeah.
here a little bit.
Yeah, it's just I think like more like we talked about how like theater is something that was happening
Mm-hmm.
in the home, and people, thought it wasn't necessarily the most proper activity, but it was certainly happening. But this is taking it a bit to the extreme.
Maybe like doing the vagina monologues in
I kind
general.
of think that's like a good comp. Like it's weird to do like a home production of the vagina monologues, and if you're like a little bit more modern in your sensibility, then like sure, but it'd be a weird choice for an amateur production. It's usually done on V-Day to raise money for women's health and like
Right.
organizations fighting for women's rights
Right.
internationally.
But like, even when I was in high school and doing the vagina monologues, like I feel like talking about it with the non-theater people,
People were weirded out.
people were like, "You're doing the what?"
Oh yeah, my father saw me in the vagina monologues in college, and
Mhm.
he was shaking and pale.
Yes.
Afterwards.
Yes.
And that is, I think that's like it kind of what this is a
Yeah.
little bit. It's got that edge of like, oh man, that's like spicy.
Yeah.
Which like maybe if you're an artist, you don't think of it as that spicy, but in this time period, this was quite spicy.
Yeah.
I also will point this out. We talk a lot about how Jane Austen persists through time. It is like so 21st century for a bunch of theater kids to get together
Do a reading.
and do a reading, which helps them flirt more openly with their crushes than they would otherwise.
Yes.
like theater kids are all about the like massages and the lack of boundaries and the like flirting with each other while rehearsals are going on.
And we're going to stage kiss, but it's going to be a real kiss.
Oh my God. Yeah. I remember being in high school and stage kissing, and certain parties were very nervous, excited, and freaked out by the idea of kissing somebody on stage. These are still things people, teenagers usually go through today, but like
Mhm.
we're really seeing that like pathway towards flirtation.
Well, I mean, they're hoping that their on-stage romance will turn into an off-stage romance.
Which, who among us?
It's literally happened to everybody.
Every theater kid knows this. And like, if you are a theater kid and you're like, I always keep my feelings separate, you're lying.
You're lying.
You're a liar.
You might as a theater adult. You should be able to as a theater adult.
Once you do it professionally, you should be separating emotions. But we were all teenagers in high school, and it's a weird hormonal time.
We
and-
remember Zanessa.
Oh yeah, High School Musical, the
come on.
blueprint for a showman's.
The blueprint. And I was the #1 fan of it. So
Yes,
I
you
know
were.
what's going on here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Caitlin asks, what do you make of everyone's opinions and roles concerning lovers' vows? What does it tell us about each character?
So, obviously, we've got the showmance playing mother and son. But
We've seen it before.
Yeah, we've seen it before. We know how they feel about it. Julia obviously wanted to be that girl, and she is not that girl. Tom, here for a good time. Tom is here to just make some good art. No, he's not here to make good art. He's here to have a good time, whereas John Yates, here to make art. He wants to be an actor.
He wants to be an actor.
Yeah. So there's that. And then we've got Mary Crawford, who I do think genuinely is just like, that sounds fun. Like
Mary, the analogy here, and like I'm gonna trigger you, is the like really beautiful, cool girl in theater who is like, oh yeah, that could be fun, and like throws away an audition and gets the lead. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't resent those girls. They are allowed to be good at what they do.
They are, but Mary didn't even show up to the audition and is getting handed one of the leads.
And she's like, oh yeah, that sounds like great.
Because she's so dainty and pretty.
She's so pretty.
Yeah. So she's there to be Mary Crawford and also to make Edmund watch the play because he was like, again, anti the play until she was involved.
Play, yes.
So that's really frustrating. Obviously, Edmund hates the theater. He doesn't hate the theater, but he hates this theater and is only watching it or only allowing it to happen because Mary Crawford's involved.
Mm-hmm.
Fanny, we'll get into her in a moment. But yeah, that's everyone's opinions and roles. What it tells us about each character is more of the same, I'd say. It shows how much of a stick Edmund has up his butt.
Huge.
It shows how kind of unconcerned Tom is with societal rules and decorum.
Yeah. I would add that he's like, it shows Tom as sort of inescapably in constant pursuit of pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
This is a pleasurable thing. He's home for like 2 minutes and he's bored. And he does not care if it's proper or not. He's going to pursue the thing that will be fun and he's going to throw his whole ass into it.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like a professional fun haver and pleasure seeker.
Yeah.
Here for a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mariah and Julia, it has turned the tides, I would say.
Yeah, it is upped the stakes on the Henry Crawford of it all. And it has honestly given Julia an answer.
Yeah, and I'm thrilled for her. I mean, she deserves so much better.
Yeah. I mean, listen, Julia is not a perfect character, but pour one out for her self-respect in this moment.
Yeah. I'm proud of her. Yeah, she's been annoying up till now. Like she's had her flaws
and classist.
And she's a classist, but I don't hate her as much as I currently am thinking, Mariah, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So
girl,
girl, what the fuck? But I guess Julia is flawed, but everybody in this book is super flawed, and so I am currently Team Julia.
I would say if we're going to be fair to Mr. Prissy Edmund, if we're going to give him his due, this moment also shows true vanity in his peers. The moment they get to start thinking of themselves as like on a stage and acting, they all turn into like these like
the worst versions
show
of themselves.
Ponies. Yeah. Looking to be like showing off themselves on stage. Edmund is not that as a character. He is clear-eyed enough to understand that his father would not like this, and this is still his father's home, and he wants to be the voice actually acknowledging that.
Yeah.
And so if we're being our most fair to Edmund, he is clear-eyed about the implications of what's happening, and he is not wrong that this is a project of his brother's and sister's vanity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a good point that they are not only looking to be show ponies. I know that we literally talked about this already, but they want to use the guise of a play. Just speaking about Mariah and Henry Crawford, they want to use the guise of a play to play out their little fantasies.
Yeah, and no one's done that since. All right, final question from the patrons. Avi asks, what do you make of Fanny's reaction at the end of chapter 14? What do you think will happen next?
So Fanny has been kind of pro play until she picks up the play.
Mhm.
Like, she was excited to see the play. Now she's read the play and she's shocked because obviously Edmund would be shocked and is shocked, so she is shocked too. What do I think will happen next? I think Fanny is using those morals that she got from Edmund to perceive this play as being improper. I don't think she's going to try to stop the play, but they're setting us up for some tension between her and the rest of the family, and her hoping that Edmund is gonna set them straight when he's
Mhm.
not gonna set them straight because Mary Crawford is involved. And so he's gonna let it happen, and she's gonna probably be upset, and I'm wondering how much she's aware of Edmund and Mary Crawford's love affair at this point, because I think that this would be similar to how Julia has just gotten confirmation. Edmund allowing this play to go forth is gonna be some confirmation for how he feels about Mary Crawford.
I think that's correct. I would also say that, like, if we're being our most fair to Fanny, and this kind of like runs into a question, is Fanny's scandal correct in this situation?
I mean, I agree with Tom a little bit that they're not doing it for an audience.
Mhm.
So why does it matter?
I think that Fanny, and we'll get farther into this, didn't take issue until she read the play.
Yeah, so I guess it wasn't really fair of me to say that she only feels this way because of Edmund feeling this way, because she actually saw that he felt this way and didn't agree until she read it.
Well, it's more like she had a balancing act where she was taking seriously Edmund's concerns and knew of them, but secretly was excited because she's never, participated in theater before seeing
Right.
it.
But she didn't necessarily know that his concerns were based on the material.
But his concerns were broader than
Right.
the material.
Right. So her having concerns about the material, like, I'm not saying she's incorrect,
Mhm.
but if we're equating it to like
Yeah.
Spring Awakening, that's a great play.
Yeah.
With an important message.
Mhm.
And so I don't know the full story of Lover's Vows, but it's a play. Her concerns should more be with Henry Crawford and Mariah canoodling while they're rehearsing, and one of them's engaged.
Well, I think, to be fair to Fanny, and we don't have to answer this yet, it's a real question where her concern lies most.
Mhm. I don't know where it lies right now, but I think her concern will be about that
Interesting.
because she's the only one who's noticed it.
The haha tells all.
The haha tells all.
Okay, that concludes our patron study questions, listeners. If you want to ask questions on the air, you can become a patron at the $15 tier. Submit your questions through Molly's Google Doc. You will ask, we will answer.
Mhm.
Okay. So that brings me to Becca's study questions. Now, we've covered a couple of these already, but I'll kind of like run through them quickly. So we just go through a sort of a lightning round on them. Quick, let's talk about how Jane Austen uses theater to move the story forward and what the different reactions to theater as an art form tell us.
Yeah, so it's kind of I'm hoping it's gonna be a play within a play, but it definitely is meta theatrical on Jane Austen's part to have them arguing over parts when they're really, at least with Mariah and Julia, they're arguing over parts when they wanna be arguing over a man. It also pits the brothers against each other, so now there's a tension between Tom and Edmund, which is also in a greater sense, like, it's been alluded to several times that Tom is the one inheriting and Edmund is not, so Edmund needs to sit down and mind his own business and let Tom run the household. So that is one way. And then we add another person into the mix who wasn't here before with John Yates, and,
Mhm.
like, he's the big theater guy from the
Yeah.
outside. Yeah.
It gives everyone cover to deal with their emotions that are really improper
Mhm.
in like a slightly less improper way.
Yeah.
And so things begin to grow reluctantly in the lasagna.
Yes.
Yeah. We see a power struggle in this chapter between Edmund and Big T. What do you take away from their dispute over the theater?
Yeah, so I think I kinda just talked about that actually, with it being a
Mhm.
kind of microcosm of the macrocosm that is their power struggle over the house and who is the leader of the estate and who is actually more suited to lead the estate. So like Tom keeps being like, take a seat, little bro.
Mhm.
And Edmund is actually the one who would do a good job.
Yeah, and the leader of the house leading the home in the correct direction or the wrong direction
Yeah.
in terms of morale.
Yeah.
All right. Back in checking in on the What the Fuck Mariah tracker.
Yeah.
What do you make of her choosing to star in this play with Henry Crawford?
Well, it is a what the fuck moment because she is blatantly ignoring the fact that she's engaged. She's actually saying, because I'm engaged, I should be able to make my own decisions. And I can talk to / touch any man I want, and it won't be a problem because I'm engaged. So
And it's in a play. So who could
it's in a play, it's fake. So who could have a problem with this? Well, everyone is saying like there's a problem with this, but nobody's like saying it to her, but like everyone's kind of saying it behind her back.
Mhm.
Julia knows it, Edmund knows it, Fanny knows it. Like they're all like, she's engaged. And she's like, it's not a problem.
Yeah, and I think that Fanny's the only one who's clocking how much she's playing with fire.
Yeah.
Here. Because it is really apparent from the interaction between Julia, Mariah, and Henry how they intend to use this play. And it'd be one thing if she was just an independent woman trying to have fun and pursuing pleasure. But what is actually here is that it's another chance for her to be closer to a man she is not engaged to.
Yes, and I'm really hoping that Julia blows her up her spot. Like I would love for Julia to like alert the presses. I don't know. I want her to cause some drama.
You want scorn.
I do.
Speaking of, let's go to Henry Crawford. His role as someone who enjoys acting and his intentions picking Mariah over Julia here.
So obviously he's got the same aims as Mariah and as Julia did before she was.
Does he?
I think so.
Mhm.
I think that his goal is to get to spend more time with her. I'm not saying that he is trying to like get her, but he thinks it's fun to flirt with her. I guess the question is, first of all, is Rushworth coming to see this play? Is my first question.
Well, that's a question moving forward.
Yeah. I have a question moving forward about that. Because if he is, then it's almost like Henry's trying to stir the pot for no reason. I think he also, maybe he was trying to hurt Julia's feelings. I haven't seen him as being malicious up until this point, but like it was kind of mean. But I think mostly he wants to flirt with Mariah unless he truly thinks that she would be better in the role and they're reading into it too much and he's that clueless, but I don't think that's the case. But I think that if Rushworth does come to see the play, the consequences to his actions could be bad because I think that everyone's going to see that they have the most scenes together and that's something they chose. However, if it's truly a mother-daughter, mother-son role, then it depends what the scenes are like for them to like, you know, if it's like not really but they're going to have to rehearse by themselves.
They sure will.
So I think that anyone can kind of draw their conclusions about what's happening there.
Funniest quote?
I have so many to choose from.
There were so many good ones in this chapter. It's finally a comedy.
I know. I'll just read 2.
Okay, give it to us.
So when they're talking about it being an anxious period for Lady Bertram when the father is away, he says it's an anxious period for her. And then the quote is, as he said this, each looked towards their mother. Lady Bertram, sunk back in one corner of the sofa, the picture of health, wealth, ease, and tranquility, was just falling into a gentle doze while Fanny was getting through the few difficulties of her work for her. The picture of anxiety right there. And then my other one is when they're talking about what play to do, there's like a bunch of like rapid fire lines that everyone's saying that aren't attributed to any one person, but I got this one that I thought was funny. If I must give my opinion, I have always thought it the most insipid play in the English language. I do not wish to make objections. I shall be happy to be of any use, but I think we could not choose worse. Because everybody wants what everybody wants.
Oh my God, they're all so vain. Questions moving forward.
All right, who's watching this play? Mr. Rushworth? Lady Bertram? all sorts of people who could potentially be a problem. Will Julia participate in the play at all? Will Fanny try to stop the play?
Good question.
Will we do the play at all?
Who wins the chapters?
Julia.
Stand up for yourself, girl.
Yeah.
Make sure that he's not disrespecting you.
You deserve it. You
Yeah.
deserve better. You deserve some things, but you deserve better than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, listeners, that concludes this episode of Pod and Prejudice. For next time, we're going to read chapters 15 and 16 to see how things begin to transpire in our lovers' vows.
In our lovers' lasagna.
Lovers' lasagna. Molly, anything else to add?
No, I'm just looking forward to continuing.
Well, until next time, then, stay proper.
And go put on a play. Be scandalous.
Be scandalous. Don't stay proper.
Pod and Prejudice is edited by Molly Burdick and audio produced by Graham Cook. Our show art is designed by Torrance Brown. Our show is transcribed by SpeechDocs Podcast Transcription. For transcripts and to learn more about our team, check out our website at podandprejudice.com. To keep up with the show, you can follow us on social media at Pod and Prejudice. If you love what you hear, check out our Patreon to see how you can support us, buy some merch at podandprejudice.dashery.com, or just drop us a rating and a review wherever you get your podcasts. Stay proper.